I thought because you've shared your affirmation card this morning, I
Yes.
thought we could potentially start with mine. I
Oh,
always start with
yeah,
these.
nice.
So these are the you got this cards, and I tend to come to these either at the start of the day or if I just need a little bit of clarity. Do you find the same as well?
Yeah, start of the day always. Yeah.
It's kind of like a ritual, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I love it. It's become a habit. It's like my gratitude list and then an affirmation card every day.
Amazing. So those people who are listening, if you need a little bit of a helping hand to start
Hmm.
your day, go and reach for something that makes sense to you. I think
Yeah,
whether it be listening to music or something.
yeah. And it can just help frame your day, you know? Even if you're not like feeling it in that moment, like even if you just woke up and you're like, oh, I need something today. And even if sometimes I read it and I'm like, yeah, okay, but I don't like quite feel it yet.
Mm,
It just helps kind of frame your day and think
mm,
about that thing, like keep coming back to that thing that I maybe wasn't quite feeling at the start of the day, but then maybe your actions and how you just frame your day, yeah, can relate back
yeah.
to what you read.
I'm gonna shuffle the cards, and then whenever you're ready, if you want to just say stop, and I'll just take the top card.
Okay, stop.
It's difficult to do things like this when you're online because
Yeah.
normally you like kind of sit with the moment for a little bit and feel the energy. Okay, so the card that's come up for you is life is the best gift.
I love that. That's pretty on brand.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah,
Do
yeah, I
you
love
want to
that.
talk about live happy and where that came from in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to think back to that of where it came from. I mean, it was me and a friend really like just sort of brainstorming about ideas. But I just when I started my coaching course, I had this real strong sense of what I wanted to do. I wanted it to be about happiness, like about positivity, about finding joy. Because that just lights me up at the end of the day. Like I think it's quite simple where it comes from. Just that you only get one life. And I think there's so much going on in life,
Mm.
when you're an adult, there's so much to juggle. And I just think people need a bit of joy. Like, even if you can only give it 5 minutes of your day, like, even if I can just help someone with something very small or give someone a smile, just it gives so much to me. And so I think I can then give that back to people. I think there's stuff around kind of toxic positivity, I guess, and that kind of feeling of, oh, you've got to be happy all the time. And that's really not what I'm about. Because chucks things at us, life can be hard. But that's why we need more of that.
Mm.
If anything, it's like in those hard times, we just need a bit of a shining light sometimes. And if I can help people just get somewhere closer to being happy, yeah, I think it's brilliant. It works both ways. I love it, and they get something too. And it's about meeting people where they are. It's
Mhm.
not about like, oh, happiness is this like big thing that you've got to like, attain to. It's like, well, actually, if you're feeling like a 4 out of 10, can we get you to like 4.5? Can we get you to 5? Like, what is it? Where is it that you want to
Mm.
be kind of on the scale if happiness was to be a scale?
Mm.
And so, yeah, that's where the name came from. Really, it's kind of live happy, but on your own terms. I'm not pushing my agenda on anyone. It's kind of like where
Yeah.
meeting you where you're at and where
Yeah.
you want to go.
And of course, happiness comes and goes, as you've
Yeah.
mentioned, and every day is different. Some periods in our lives are very difficult.
Hmm.
But I think you've already mentioned it at the start of our conversation with the affirmation cards and the gratitude journal.
Hmm.
Practicing gratitude and looking for those glimmers of hope
Mm.
and joy and happiness. It really shifts your mindset. And I think with your background in psychology as well, I should imagine that really plays into how you support people, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And what I'm about is those small things. I think you can make such powerful change with small things. Small things add up, and I think sometimes we forget that. I think sometimes we're, trying to go for something like a massive goal. And yeah, you can get there, but there's so many small little steps that you need to take. We can't just always make a big jump. We can't, just become something overnight, or whatever it might be. It's all about those small changes and mindset shifts. That's
Mm,
hard to say. Yeah, because yeah, it's like that's sometimes like all we need, like, is a positive reframe sometimes, or maybe turn into gratitude. And it's about building those small habits that
yeah.
actually make big change. And I think there's such power in that. People are busy, and it's about those things that, oh, what can you do for 5 minutes? What can you do that actually, something, a ritual that you do for 10 minutes a day, like, could really just absolutely change your life in its 10 minutes.
Yeah,
It doesn't
absolutely.
have to be this kind of big thing.
I'm wondering what sort of small moments you give yourself every day. I noticed on your Instagram page you share, happiness looks like this, and every day or every week you share some things that have brought you joy and happiness. What are your go-tos, Beth? What brings you joy and happiness most days?
So I gift myself time in the morning. So I set my alarm earlier, like half an hour earlier than when I need to get up. And then that is my time. So it's like, if I'm really tired and I need to go back to sleep, I'll go back to sleep. But generally it's like I'll have some time for reading. But every day I make sure that I do my gratitude list, and I share that on my Instagram in the hopes that it just gives people a bit of a boost, or gives people an idea for what they can be grateful for. They might look at it and think of it themselves. I pull an affirmation card as well, like we said at the start,
Mm,
and yeah, that just helps me kind of have a frame for the day, or something to kind of think about. Or maybe towards the end of the day, I'm like, oh, what was that thing again? And try to really like stay connected with
mm,
it. And reading for me is like such a joy. That really, yeah, that's like a big thing for me. And I make sure that I read every day. And again, it could be 10 minutes. I might not have time, and it could be 10 minutes. I also do morning pages as well, which is a stream of consciousness for the concept is 3 pages. It
yeah,
doesn't have to be 3 pages. But that's something from the artist way that I'm sure
yeah,
we'll get into. But yeah, they're kind of like my main things. For me, it's more of a morning thing, just because
yeah.
I'm better in the morning. And what I love is that if I'm really busy that day, I know that at least I set that time for myself in the morning, and that is like really protected time for me because it's so important. And then if in the evening I've got time to do something else for myself, that's a bonus because I've already done something. So if I'm like just too busy and just don't have time to do anything, it's like, oh, at least I know in the morning I've had that time.
Mm,
Because I think it's so important
it
to
is.
take time for yourself. And even, like I say, even if it is 10 minutes, just something that you need for you. And it's about finding those things that work
Yeah,
for you. I think we can really try to force ourselves, like, oh, I hear meditation's really good for you, I'll give that a go. And then if it's not for you and you're forcing it and it just feels
mm,
horrible because you are forcing it and it's not for you. Like, I know it's not really for me. I don't like find peace in it. I find it too hard to control, like, the
yeah,
all the thoughts that are going around in my head. But my morning time, my gratitude, my morning page, all those things, like, that feels like a meditation for me.
mm,
What I assume people get from meditation, I can get that in my own way. And so it's, yeah, I would implore people to kind of find that thing, just explore some things, just see what
see what
sticks, see
happens.
what,
Yeah,
yeah, see what works for you.
yeah. And the thing is, as well, as you said, everybody's busy. They've got work, they are building businesses, they are raising family, they are helping and supporting elderly members of their family. Loads and loads of different reasons why we struggle sometimes to prioritize ourselves. So often we're at the bottom of the list. But I think something that strikes me as well is that you're balancing a day job and living creatively. How do those identities support and like align as you move through this wilderness? Because I'm also on that journey.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. And I think when you show up in your life, in whatever aspect of your life, if you're showing up authentically and as yourself, it doesn't have to be like a particularly like a separate thing as such. Like the personality that I bring to anything is just me. I can't not be myself. I don't have the energy to kind of put on a different front. You know, like who you see on social is like it's just me. Like, you know, I'm honest when I'm like struggling. Like I posted this week about, you know, feeling like overwhelmed
Yeah.
because I think, yeah, you've just got to show up as yourself and show up authentically and honestly, and people just resonate with that. You know, in sharing when you're struggling, people are like, oh, you know, oh, that's actually a real person.
Yeah.
There's so much out there that feels, you know, a bit fake and feels like
Mm.
Instagram versus reality, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And I think it's so important to just be yourself. You know, how I show up at work is the same, you
Mm.
know, because like I said, we've only got so much energy, and we've got so much that we can give. And yeah, I think I can't kind of pretend to be someone else. But
Mm.
what I've been talking about recently is there's a lot out there about kind of like the mum juggle, and I get it. Like I'm not a mum myself, but like I work for a children's charity. We support a lot of families, and it's not just mums, but you know, parents, the parent juggle. And no one's really talking about just like the life juggle, you know? Like there's so much as an adult. I think, you know, as children, it's all like it's all fun and games. You can play, you can do what you want, and you go to school and it's great. But you know, or maybe it's not great. But you know, you have a certain routine, and you have no idea what adults
No.
have to put up with, you know, and have to deal with. And it's just that balance of I want to rest, but you know, I want to have fun. I want to save, but I also, you know, want to do things and want to like grab life. And you want to spend time with your partner, you want to spend time with your
Yeah.
friends, you want to spend time with your family, your partner's family. You know, and it's just like you're cooking, you're going to work, you're keeping a home, you know, you want a nice,
Mm.
tidy and clean home, you want to eat healthy, you want to exercise, you know, and it's just like it's on top, you know, if you listed kind of all the
All
things
the
we
things.
daily have to do, like your life admin and going to appointments and, you know, just
Yeah.
anything that like you just your average adult is dealing
Yeah.
with, as well as everything going up and all the stuff that is going on in the world that
In the
can
way.
feel really heavy, you know, there's just a lot to juggle. And I think not enough people are talking about that, and the fact that it can just be hard, you know, like
Yeah.
say to my clients, like, I get it, like life is hard sometimes. And I don't think we say that enough. And I think, and I get it. I know I'm coming from like a place of privilege, and it is like kind of first world problems that we're talking about, you know, and I'm a white female. And
Yeah.
so you can feel like you can't say that, but at the end of the day, like it's just your reality,
Yeah.
isn't it? And you know, if you were in a different situation, it'd be a different struggle. You know, we're all balancing some sort of
Suffering.
balance, some sort
Yeah.
of struggle. That you know, it's kind of, is it really a struggle, I suppose, but it is just that kind of heavy weight sometimes that things are overwhelming. So it is hard to find a balance.
And I think, and I can hear it in your voice as well, that this sense of guilt of saying, actually,
Yeah,
my life feels hard. Now, we're not saying that things that are happening in the world, there's no comparison. There's no
yeah,
comparison. Suffering is suffering, and it's from your perspective. It's from your
yeah,
hilltop.
yeah.
And I think, I have a small child, but I really hear what you're saying about the life juggle.
Mm,
There is a lot to kind of contend with. And because you work with Homestart, it's a charity for families and parents. And something that really resonates with me with that particular charity is that early intervention,
mm,
and the fact that so many people often feel very alone, and that doesn't necessarily need to be, a single mum with a child.
mm,
It can be somebody within a family unit that is feeling isolated, lonely, without a purpose, just needing a helping hand. And so I can see where those lines cross for you in the work that you're doing day to day, because
mhm,
you're in communications and really
mhm,
sending that message out. and the work that you're doing as a coach.
Mm.
When I talk about taking the road less traveled, what does that mean to you? Taking the road less traveled.
I think for me, it sort of speaks to like going your own way, like
Mm.
finding your own path or creating a path, a path that might not exist for you yet, but you're just kind of going out into the wilderness and, finding whatever it is, whatever it might be, your purpose, or finding where you want to go next, or just, kind of finding a new outlook on life. It could be anything, but yeah, I see it like, visually in my mind as kind of this path into the wilderness, and maybe no one's around, because you're kind of finding your own way. It's like being an explorer of your own life.
And I love that feeling, the energy of people who are in the wilderness coming together, connecting,
Mm,
collaborating. And the workshops that you lead with your clients are very collaborative, aren't they? You do a lot of
mm,
mood boards
mm,
and sort of visualizations, really imagining what that life could look like for
yeah,
you in that wilderness, taking that road less
yeah.
traveled. How do you structure those workshops? What's the creative process like for you when you're bringing those workshops to life?
So I always have a reading at the top. Nikki Banis is just a beautiful writer. She has a couple of books out that she calls them letters, but they're kind of like short verse, short poems, if you will. And they all have like a title. And it's all about it, like bloom or journey. They're all like really lovely, really nice kind of topics. I'll find one that resonates, find one that kind of links to whatever we're talking about, or whatever we're doing in the workshop, whether it's vision boards or quarterly scrapbooking. It's all about kind of that reflection. And so we start with a reading, just, close your eyes, have a reading, to really, just kind of ground us in what we're doing. And then it's just very open. I'm very much about adults needing more time to play. I think, as kids, comes so natural to us. And
Yeah,
as adults, we can lose that along the way, with that busy life that takes over, and perfectionism and all sorts of different things kind of come into the mix. And yeah, really, that's what I'm doing. I'm just creating a space where people feel free, and where people can create, people can play, people can just come and try something. It's lovely, the kind of the like richness of the conversation that we have, because when people are like eyes down or like busy with their hands, the conversation that you have is just, it's almost like coaching conversation, really, in a way. We can get quite deep, or it's quite nice that, regulars kind of come back, and then it's like, oh, how was the wedding, or how was your holiday, and kind of building a community is really important to me. It's just always like flowed. The conversations just
yeah,
always felt natural. Like, I'm not, after I've kind of done the reading, a bit of housekeeping and whatever, and talking about what we're going to be doing, it's very much just then like open floor. And I just
yeah,
love that. And the conversation just flows, which is just so lovely to see, and just to be a part of that,
yeah.
really.
And how long do each session last? How long do the sessions last? And also, how do you hold that space? I think that's a really crucial part of the process, isn't it? Because you never know what's going to come out in those
Yeah,
conversations.
and that's what I mean. Sometimes we go quite deep. I mean, sometimes, it's just like chit chat, and that's great. Some people need that space, but yeah, sometimes we do talk about, like we've said, life is hard. You might be
Yeah.
going through something, and people open up about that. And so I think it is all in that space that you've created,
Mm.
to kind of just hold, like the space is held, is what I feel like. Like, I'm just kind of there. It's great. Kind of, I love like the reading at the top, but then it
Mm.
is just free flowing.
Yeah.
And I think that's when people feel safe. I think if it had a lot of structure, maybe people wouldn't feel so open. I don't know. It's hard to say, because that's all I've ever done. But I think just having that open space, I think, just really makes people feel comfortable, and that is just really important to me. I just always want people to feel like they can say whatever they need to say in the moment, and the sessions, it depends what it is, but they last different kind of timings. The quarterly scrapbooking that I have every quarter, that works as like a quarterly reflection,
Yeah.
but you're doing it through scrapbooking, which is such a lovely like visual way, to kind of, it's almost like a diary, I guess,
Yeah.
in a way. And that's 3 hours, which might
Wow.
seem like a long amount of
Yeah.
time, and
But
it goes
it goes so
so
quick.
quick. And you're going through quarters, it kind of feels like a month an hour
Yeah.
kind of thing. But if it's vision boards, that'd be 2 hours, and kind of mood boards the same amount of time. I like to have enough time.
Mm.
It's kind of when people get into creating, you don't want to be like, oh, sorry, you've got to
I
stop.
know.
And sometimes even after the 3 hours, I'm like, oh guys, we've got 10 minutes left, because yeah, it just absolutely flies.
And I think it speaks to the need that so many people feel to just have that time for themselves.
mm,
They are quite happy sitting for 3 hours,
yeah,
just scrapbooking and talking and reflecting
yeah,
and connecting. And I think, I've spoken about this on numerous occasions, but I teach dance and drama, and therefore I'm in that creative process with the children. Then all of a sudden the bell goes and we've got to stop what we're
yeah.
doing. And it's just like, it just breaks that creative flow. Do we have to bring our own resources, or do you provide, or is it part and parcel, or you pay for some resources?
Yeah, so it's all provided. I mean, the premise of the quarterly scrapbooking is you've done the thing. So like you bring
Yes.
your stuff, like
Yeah.
your tickets or your whatever that you want to put in, your photographs maybe, but there's all sorts of papers and magazines to rip up, stickers, all sorts of stuff. The table is always full, washi tapes,
Amazing.
glue, it all. So yeah, that's the premise really, that it's all there, but with the quarterly scrapbooking, kind of
Mm.
bring some bits to kind of represent what you've been up to in the last quarter. But I just want to come back to one thing you said about it kind of being an important space to kind of hold for people. That in one of the workshops, a lady who's a regular, she comes every time, she gave me just the biggest squeeze of a hug and said, I really needed this today.
Oh.
And it's just so lovely to be able to provide that for people, because when you boil it down, it's cutting and sticking.
Yeah.
Like in its simplest form, it's cutting and sticking, but it's so much more than that, because of like we've said, the kind of coming together and the conversation, and just, I think, having that protected time for yourself. Like, when you turn up, oh, I'm here for 3 hours, and that
Yeah.
3 hours is just for me. There's other people there to chat to, but like it's time for me. And I think mums especially, they don't always give themselves that time. I mean, when was the last time that you had 3 hours to like just be creative and do something for yourself? You're laughing because I know that it'd be a long time ago. It's like, oh well, don't know when. Yeah, and it's important to take that time for yourself, and
Mm.
yeah, just let yourself do something.
Yeah. And stepping away from social media. I mean, the thing
Yeah,
is that we don't live in the way that we used to,
yeah,
in small tribes, in communities where we're all sitting around the campfire and sort of
mm,
sharing stories and, making things, clothes. And, it's times have changed so much. So be able to give yourself permission to go and do something like that and find friends and build that community, I think is so important. So I will pop all of your contact details and information about
fab.
where
Thank
people
you.
can find you. That's not a problem. So I'm intrigued about the 100 days of poems.
Yeah.
And where did that sort of motivation come from? Was there a particular moment that made you think, oh, I kind of want to share my words with the world?
Yeah, so there's a few bits that kind of interlink, and I think it really started when last October my brother got married, and he asked me, he was like, "Can you do a reading?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. What do you want?" And he was like, "Oh, I'll leave it to you." And I was like, "Oh,
Pressure.
God, yeah." And I was like looking around, and I was just thinking, in screaming out like my brother and his wife, like nothing kind of felt like them. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give a poem a go. And that just kind of sparked something, I think, because it went down really well. Like there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Like people
Well done,
loved
you.
it. Yeah, people loved it. So I was sat on that for a little bit. I was like, oh, I really enjoyed that, and people enjoyed it. Yeah, that was great, and kind of like let that go a little bit. Didn't kind of
Mm.
think anything of it. And then it was kind of, again, two things meeting, that I was doing The Artist Way, which, if people don't know, it's like a 12-week book by Julia Cameron, and she is just the queen of like creativity, and the whole premise really is to kind of get you to reconnect with your creativity. It's amazing. And if you can do it, I'm thinking about maybe doing a book club for it
Lovely.
next year. So that'd be great, because it is one of those books. I will kind of give a bit of a warning that it can feel overwhelming. And what really helped me was being on a book club myself. And then
Okay.
you're in a group and you're all kind of encouraging each other. And even if you haven't done the like tasks for
Mm.
the week, you're there feeling inspired by hearing about what other people are
Mm.
saying. I think that just kind of being on that and being more kind of, I guess, connected to my creativity just gave me that confidence, I think, to
Mm.
kind of go back to the poems and just explore it, just see. Like, I didn't know what was going to come out. I didn't know if they'd be any good. I didn't know if people would like them. But it was just about like giving something a go.
Yeah.
And there is something called the 100 Days Project. They have an Instagram, and my friend does that, and she does it every year. And so she was like, "Oh, it's 100 days again. Like, do you think,
Yeah. Do
what do you
it.
think you could do?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then I was like, "Okay, maybe I could write a poem every day." And I thought, "Oh, can I do?" And I started to be like, "Oh, can I
The
do it? I don't
pressure
know."
of writing a poem every day, because it must
I know.
feel like everyone's expecting me to do this now, and you don't have
Yeah,
any inspiration, or but then they just can be one line, they can be
yeah,
4 lines, they don't have to
yeah,
be, huge sonnets.
yeah. Oh no, they're definitely not that. But they can, yeah. And I was just like, just let it flow. Like, just let it be what it is. If you don't do it for 100 days, like, no one's going to kill you. It's
No,
fine. Like,
no.
all is well. Just give it a go. It was just the process was just so interesting to kind of like reconnect with that. And it was interesting what like inspired me, and it could be a
Mm.
whole host of things. Like, someone asked me on my TikTok, like, "Oh, what inspires you?" And I was like, "Oh, that's such a hard question, because
Yeah.
it's a bit of all sorts. It could be something
Everything.
that I've read." Well, yeah, exactly. Just the weather outside, something that I've read, even just like a video that I watched on Instagram where someone was talking about something, or something that's happening in the world, or how I'm
Yeah.
feeling that day, or yeah, it could just be anything. And it was so intriguing. I went into it with like just an open heart, open mind, and just,
Mm.
yeah, saw where it took me. And I was really surprised, not gonna lie. I was like, "Oh my goodness, I actually have kept this up for 100 days." Like, I wasn't sure whether I would. I
The
wasn't sure if I would
commitment.
like it. I wasn't sure if I'd enjoy it, but I really did enjoy it. And just getting the odd message to be like, "Oh, I love this one. I really resonate with
Yeah.
this one," just kind of kept me going, really. That I was like, "Oh, even if one person's read it and liked it, like, that is great."
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Do you
yeah,
do you have any to share now? Would you like to
I've
read?
I've
Would
got
you like to read?
some I've got
Yes,
some
good.
ready for you. So I've picked out three, and so I'll
Amazing.
just read them consecutively. And what I
Yeah.
would say, if you're listening, if you can like stop where you are, sit down, take a moment, maybe close your eyes, and just focus on the words. I think that would be really lovely if you can do. So this one is called "I Am Loved." When my head hits the pillow, I know I am loved. I feel it radiate through messages on my phone or the way you look at me. I can sleep well tonight. I've got that warm, fuzzy glow, for I am loved. This one is called "Looking at the Same Moon." I remember it blew my mind when I learnt that everyone in the world sees the same sun and moon. Millions of miles apart, looking at the same moon. I can look up and think of you. Are you looking and thinking about me too? I hope so. And then this one is called "Sunday." Sunday is calm, soft, and never to a time. Sunday comes and goes like a flowing river. Sunday feels easy and a nice person to be around. Enveloped in warmth and gentle joy. Soon Monday will come, a different energy with a get up and go. But for now, I'll enjoy the slow Sunday glow.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing those.
My pleasure.
Do you know, it's startles me, and it moves me when I am in in presence of somebody who is creative, like throughout the whole process of creating and developing the podcast, I've had some incredible conversations, and I've been with people who have opened up about their lives and their experiences and, the challenges. And I just feel so blessed to have genuinely listened to those words, because that you can hear, they're coming from your heart, and
Yeah.
they radiate, actually. Live
Yeah.
happy. They really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. And
incredible.
yeah, and I honestly loved it. I'd never, like I say, I went in just totally like, let's give it a go. I don't know. And that's generally like what I do with a lot of things, like starting a business. I was like, well, don't know if it's going to work out, but like, let's give it a go. Starting a podcast. Yeah, okay, give it a
Yeah.
go. Why not?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you've just got to take a little chance, and it doesn't matter if you fail. Like, if I just did 2 days of it, great. Like,
Yeah.
that's two
It's
poems that you
2 days.
didn't have before,
Yeah.
or insert amount of days, whatever it was. I just went
Mm.
into it just being like, let's just be open. It's that
Yeah.
openness that I think, like, we can be so sort of closed and have a wall up and all these different things that we might feel like we're not confident maybe, or we're attached to like our perfectionism and like, oh, but oh, it's going to be crap and people won't
Yeah.
like it, or or keep it to yourself and not share it because of those things perhaps, or anything else that you've kind of got going on, or those thoughts that we battle on a daily basis. I could have just not done it. I could have not done that. I could have not shared them, but in sharing them, I've connected with people on what feels like a different level, and I think people have like seen me, some
Yeah.
of them have been quite raw, like some are right about like not having children and not knowing
Mm.
kind of what I want to do there. Do I want children? Do I not? Will I regret it? All that kind of stuff, like some real like, proper life stuff and grief. And, I wrote a few poems about my granddad as well, who I like just miss all the time. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think people have just connected with that.
Mm.
People have connected with that authenticity, that honesty, and maybe just that vibe of just like giving it a go. Like, I always put it out there to just be like, I'm trying it. Like, just stay with me if you want, be with
Yeah.
me on the
Yeah.
journey. But yeah, and like, putting out a story, just being like, thank you so much for the comments. And like, that comes from a genuine place of like, thank you. Like, thank you for listening. Thank you. Well, at that point, it was like just reading them. I used to just
Yeah.
post them on my story, just from my notes app, nothing. It didn't have, for me, I was like, oh, it needs to be like nothing fancy at this point, because that'll be another
Just to
barrier
share.
to
Yeah.
stop me. It was just like, just do it in your notes app. I can be on the go and write them. So yeah, it was literally just sharing my notes. But yeah, to have anyone kind of comment and just say that they like resonated with them
Mm.
just meant such a lot. And like I say, it was just kind of that connection on a different level,
Different level.
really. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I can do surface stuff for a while,
Mm,
but after I've sort of got a sense of somebody, I'm like, okay, now I want to know more.
yeah.
Now
Yeah.
I need deeper
That's
understanding,
me.
empathy. Like, where do we meet here? This is where I'm leading
Yeah. Yeah. I
from
love
and
that.
to. So yeah, thank you so much for being here and for sharing.
Thank you.
Do you ever stop and like think, overthink, worry about doing too
Yes.
much, doing too little? Like, where are you with that whole process?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, thinking of it in that way. I think I'm better when I'm like, just do it.
Yeah, me too.
Because if I've got too much time, like if I overthought the whole poems and sharing them, because
Yeah.
for a bit I was like, oh, shall I read them out? Oh, what shall I do? Or shall I write them down, take a photo? Like, and I was like, Beth, just like, it's having that step back a minute and just being
Yeah.
like, right, Beth, like, and have like a real talking to yourself of just
Mm.
like, right, just, I'm all about making things as easy as possible, right? Like we've said, we're all busy, la la la.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, just make things as easy as possible for yourself. So I told myself, just do it in your notes app. It's there. You can be on the go, all those things that I've said. And it just
Mm.
made it accessible to myself. There was
Yes.
no barrier there apart from my own thoughts. Like, obviously, I needed to come up with it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think part of it is like, trying to build something on social media and this pressure of, creating content. I think you're absolutely right. Actually, just take that step back. Who are you creating this for?
Mm,
That's the question. Are you creating it for yourself because it soothes you, because it replenishes you,
yeah,
because it serves you in some way to kind of understand and process different emotions or an experience?
yeah,
Or are you creating for the other?
mm,
And that's the balance. I think that's so hard
yeah,
because, I'll be
yeah,
in the
it
kitchen
is.
thinking, oh, I need to like create a B-roll, and I'm just going to film myself making a cup of tea. And I'm like, this
Yeah,
feels so horrible.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Just so
totally been there.
misaligned with
Yeah,
what I'm trying to do here. But it's
definitely. Yeah,
the pressure, isn't it?
yeah, and that can take over. Sometimes I'm in a moment and I should just be enjoying the moment, but I'm thinking, oh, that could have made a really good video actually. And it's like, Beth, come on, like life is for living, like calm yourself down. Yeah, and it is just getting that balance. But I think that again comes back to that like being authentic thing. It was just me showing up. I mean, I say just, it was like an effort. It was me showing
Yeah.
up just as simply as possible, as raw as I wanted to be that day, or as sort of kind of surface level, or as creative as I felt that day. Whatever I was
Mm,
putting out was just like, hey, this is me. Here's a poem. Like, enjoy it if you want, and if you don't, fine. Like, I just had to kind of boil it down to just be in the like simplest way, and the simplest way for me to do it. And then that made it easy for people to access it as well, and they're short so that people, again, we're busy, la la la, like keep saying that, but it's so true. And
it's
it's
true,
like,
isn't it?
and just a few lines, great. I can do that today. Like I can do it for me. I can write that. I can write a few lines today, and also you can like read those. If it was like a really long thing, maybe people wouldn't have interacted with it. But I think that's what helped it being kind of short stuff. Um, and kind of coming back to that social thing with the pressure of it. I think again, it's just coming back to like the joy in it. It's coming back to like your why, like why are you doing it? And coming back to that joy. Like what I try to do all the time is come back to joy. So like my
Yeah.
my posts, whatever they are, they'll have obviously the angle of joy and finding those small things.
Mm,
And again, what I put out is just trying to get people to see that it can be as simple as taking a moment, you know, like gratitude.
yeah.
It's taking a moment, really. It's taking a moment and just having a think. Like, can you think of just one thing you're grateful for? Can you think of three things? Can you think of five things?
Mm,
And it's like 5 minutes, if that. And just the more that you connect with those things, the more that they'll just come to you. But
mm,
when I'm putting out the content, I'm just trying to make it as easy as possible for people. I keep coming back to that. I keep hearing myself saying that, but
mm.
it is just, I think we put things on a pedestal.
Yeah.
I think we kind of think that you need all this grand stuff, you need all the books, and you need to have done this, and we kind of put things off sometimes. We put off our own joy sometimes,
Yeah.
for kind of no real reason when you kind of boil it down. But yeah, so what I put out there is just trying to be like honest, authentic, but also like, look, I'm sharing my small joys because there will be some for you, however
Mm,
hard you are feeling, like however like heavy life
mm.
is feeling. It's like there's joy always out there, like ready and waiting for us. Like I always describe joy as like it's the kid like pulling on your sleeve, being like,
Yeah.
look, like look
Oh,
at that. Like that's how I see it. That joy is like just there all the time, and it's just about being able to take that moment to like just actually notice stuff, because like you can be on your phone all the time, or you can, even when like people are outside and you think what a glorious day to be outside, like today it's
yeah.
sunny, what a fab thing. And there's a bit of breeze, the leaves are blowing,
Yeah.
all that like great stuff that's out there. But if you're just on your phone, like you're not going to see any of that.
And too busy trying to capture that moment, I think.
Yeah,
Actually
yeah,
just live in the moment. And actually when you come back to wherever you're wherever your account is, your social media platform, your business, whatever it is, actually you can talk about those experiences with real energy, with real
Mm,
clarity.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's going to come through much more clearer than a photograph or, you know, something that you've tried to recreate,
Yeah,
you know, in the
definitely.
moment.
Yeah,
So,
and just before we move on from social, one thing that I'd really like implore people to do is just curate a feed that feels like a nice place. You
yeah.
know, if there are people out there that like their posts just aren't resonating with you anymore, maybe they've moved on to like weight loss content, or maybe they've had a
Yeah.
baby and you don't resonate with that anymore, like, you know, whatever reasons it might be, like just unfollow them. Make social media like a happy place for you. Like, I know that I don't doom scroll. I'm like joy scrolling, like, because everything that I'm seeing, I'm like, oh, I love that. I love that. Oh, I'll share that because I love it. People will love it, you know, because it's just got to be a nice place. You know, it can be dark. I get that. And that can be hard to navigate, especially if you have children. But, you know, just make your feed like just a place that you want to be, you know,
Mm,
that you're following people, you're diversifying your feed as well. You're seeing different
yeah.
people, you're hearing their story, you know. Yeah, I think that's so important because I can see how easily it can get into doom scrolling, but like try to think of it as like joy
Mm,
scrolling, that, you know, it can be a time for you. Like, I find personally Instagram really inspiring. Like, I
I love
love,
it.
yeah, I love it. I love what I've like created on there, like
Mm,
my feed, I mean, of the people that I
yeah.
follow, because yeah, it's like a great space to be in. It's things that I love to see, and I often feel really inspired. Like when I take a bit of a social media break, I'm like, oh, I want to actually
Yeah.
be back on there, and I want to see what people are creating and kind of feel inspired. So
And it's
yeah,
a really creative platform,
yeah,
as in, like, you know, your reels and, you know, your stories, and there's all the
yeah,
stickers and all of those things that you can add
yeah,
in. I mean, before I had the podcast, I didn't even have an Instagram account.
right, yeah,
And I was like, oh, I don't really know what to do here. But over the last year, I've really loved it. I've not found it
yeah,
sort of challenging in any way as such, because, as you were saying, you know, I've created a space that I feel really happy in. And I've met so
yeah,
many amazing people.
yeah,
You know, like, a couple of people have reached out to me recently and said, you know, it does feel like we are friends, like we've made
yeah,
really good friends here. That's
yeah.
what it's about, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Having that community, you know, you spoke about earlier about like adults feeling lonely, even if you've got a family and
Yeah,
people around you, you can feel so lonely. You know, internet friends are still friends. Like, you know, you can
absolutely.
still have that connection, and
Yeah,
sometimes I think people can dismiss that a little bit, you know, that they're not like real mates or whatever. But actually, you can have some like really great conversation, and again, that links to that. The more authentic and honest you are, the more people resonate with you and kind of feel that connection with you, because you're like, oh, I've been feeling like that. Like, thank you for sharing, because yeah, and then like, you know, share your tips to get out of it or whatever. Whatever it's about that they've
yeah,
connected with. It's yeah, so important to have that. And like some, you know, some of my like in real life friends are like mates that I've met online, you
yeah.
know. It's
That's
great.
great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Jinx.
Jinx again. So you've talked about the artist's way. I was just wondering if there are any other
Yeah.
books or films or music or anything that kind of is inspiring you and leading you in your creativity at the moment.
Yeah, so there's a singer, Rebecca Lucy Taylor, like also known as Self Esteem. I mean, there could be a whole podcast on her. I just love her so much. I find her so inspiring. She just talks so openly just about life and kind of what it's like to be a woman, really. And yeah, her music is, it just really speaks to me. And she's got a book coming out that is like short prose, a bit like
Okay.
poetry. So I'm really excited for when that does come out. Yeah, because I think she's just brilliant, and she's kind of saying what people are thinking, I think, and she's brave enough to say it, you know, and
It's
be a
really
female in that
refreshing.
space. Yeah, yeah, really refreshing. So yeah, always come back to self esteem.
Amazing. And
Yeah,
yoga as well. I know you do a lot of
yeah,
movement a lot of yoga. That's amazing to keep us sort of in tune and connected.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it's just that taking time for yourself and having a moment. And it's like, do you want to go to, there's options, aren't there? You could go to a more relaxing class if that's what you feel like
Yeah.
you need. Maybe go to a sound bath. Like that's something that I really love.
I love a sound bath.
So
I have
good.
not been to one for a good few months now, but I always find them so beneficial.
Yeah, yeah. It's so, and again, it's just having that time, that like hour of just protected time to just like be in that moment. Yeah, just movement, I think is yeah, it's really good for us. Whether you're just like dancing in your house,
Yeah,
just like having a good old boogie for just a 3 minute song,
yeah,
great. But if you can get out, get outside, like I think we can again just kind of forget that almost. Like if we're inside, especially if we work from home, which I do, it's like you're just inside and you're kind of like, oh, I've got meetings, so I'm quick on my lunch, I've got to be quick on my
yes, oh
lunch break
yeah,
because I've got another meeting, and then it's like, I haven't been outside today, or even like I haven't been outside for 3 days, or whatever, depending on what you've got going on. And I think, yeah, we can kind of forget the power of that, like getting
mm,
some fresh air and getting out, even if it is just like quick. Sometimes all I can do is a quick walk around the
just a
block
quick
and come
round,
back,
yeah,
and even that, is just so like invigorating. It just kind of, yeah, it just gives you a
gives
bit
you a
of a
reset.
boost, doesn't it? Yeah. And
Absolutely.
I think it's sometimes I find it difficult speaking about like exercise. I prefer to say like movement,
Yeah,
because I think we've maybe all got a bit of well, not all of us, but we might have some trauma from like PE at school, let's be honest. And I just went into adult life thinking, oh, well, I'm no good at sport. I can't, that's not me. I'm just not a sporty person, because I'm not a sporty person. But finding your thing, like when you find it, oh,
yeah.
it, like can bring you just so much joy. I mean, if someone said to me sort of, I don't know, 6 years ago or whatever, you're going to start going to like circuits classes and you're going to go to like a yoga class with weights and you're going to love it, I'd just be like, yeah, right. But here I am, going every week and feeling
That's
sad if I
amazing.
can't go.
Yeah.
But that's only through going.
Mm,
Is that pushing yourself to go to something, to try something. And if you're a bit scared of going to a class, try and go with a mate, or like just find that within yourself. Listen to the 345 by Self Esteem before you go, and be like, yes, I need to go. There's just something that you can find within, even when I'm like so tired, even when my watch is telling me your body battery's at like 15, you've got
oh
to
yeah.
like just find
Push
something
through.
from within. Yeah. And getting there is honestly the hardest
The
bit,
hardest bit.
is making yourself go. And and it's overcoming those thoughts of like, oh, I'm not going to be any good. Like people are going to be loads better
Mm,
than me, and all those things. Oh, people are going to like be looking at me. What if I like fall over? What if I can't do it? All those things. What
mm.
if I go bright red? All whatever it
Whatever it
is.
is, yeah.
That we, again, all those thoughts that we're like constantly fighting. It's like no one actually cares.
No.
Everyone is like, more, you're just in the zone, aren't you? You're
Yeah.
just focused on what you're doing. You're not thinking about other people. You're not looking at other people on your mat if it is yoga or whatever you're
Yeah.
doing. Like people just aren't
They're just
aren't
not they're
bothered,
just not bothered about what you're doing. The joy in knowing that you can move your body.
Yeah, I'm so
I know,
grateful for
so
that,
grateful for our bodies that we can do what we do.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And showing up for
Showing up.
yourself.
Yeah.
Like we're saying, the hardest bit is going, and I promise you, the more that you stick at something, like when I think back to things like probably like my first circuits class or whatever, I mean, I would have been like, I mean, I'm still struggling, but I'm giving it more because
Yeah.
I can,
And you love it.
I'm stronger and I do, yeah. But it's a love hate relationship, I think, but you know, and I promise, the more that you stick at something, you will see progress, and it might even come quicker than you think. It's like things like running. Your first run can just feel like, you check your watch and you
Dragging
think, oh
yourself.
God, how have I only done 40 seconds? Um, but things build, and it just needs you to show up for yourself. That's what it's all about, like showing up and just giving it whatever you've got, even when you're tired, even if you've got 10 minutes, whatever. Is that showing up for yourself and kind of trying to build on something. Yeah, I think that's kind of what you need for movement, really. Just finding that thing that you can actually enjoy. Like, I actually enjoy that now. Whereas, you know, the little girl at school, absolutely hating PE, you know, I just never thought that I'd be someone who actually enjoys some kind of exercise, some kind of movement.
And you've kind of referred to this sort of, you know, kid pulling at your sleeve, the girl in the PE class
Yeah,
who perhaps didn't feel like she had a place there,
yeah,
you know, the artist's way, reconnecting with this innate sort of creativity that we have. And so much
yeah.
of our work, I feel, is about taking care of that
Mm,
inner child, you know,
yeah,
saying it's okay, you know, the life juggle, it's okay, we've got this,
yeah,
you know, we I can hold your hand through this very difficult,
yeah,
challenging experience that is life.
yeah.
But it is a gift. It is a gift that we are
Absolutely.
here, you know?
Yeah,
So what's kind of, you know, when you think about Live Happy and your coaching and what the future looks like, what are you planning for? You've already mentioned the book club. Is there anything else on the horizon that you're really excited about?
yeah. Well, I mean, anyone who follows me on Instagram, my garden room workshop space, we've had ups and downs. We've had a
Yeah.
few floods. It's been a whole thing.
Yeah.
So I feel a bit like things are on pause, but I'm gonna make things happen. Like, the last few workshops have been inside my house, fine. Like, anything to just kind of
I love
make it
it.
happen. So I think, yeah, I'm just gonna continue with my workshops, introduce some new ones, maybe some
Yeah.
junk journaling,
Nice.
maybe just kind of some like free collage. And I want to launch a monthly event as well
Yeah.
that'll be like an open space for people to come. There'll be a theme, and it'll just be like, come and create whatever it is. It could be like watercolors one week, or kind of clay one week, or collage one week, you know,
Yeah.
whatever it is. It'll just be, again, just that open space for people to come and create. And I'm really hoping to like manifest some kind of poetry book.
Yes.
I would love that. So
And
yeah,
there'll be
putting that
some,
out there.
put it out into the universe, but also there'll be sort of sharing spaces, won't there, for poems? Maybe a poetry festival, maybe something.
Yeah,
I'm imagining for you.
yeah, I would love that. My friend encouraged me recently to like enter a poetry competition, so I'm waiting to hear back on that.
Yes.
And I think it is, yeah, for me. Just I don't particularly plan. I don't have a 5 year plan. I don't really have a 1 year plan.
I don't have a plan for the
But
day.
exactly. But I just love, though, that openness. Like,
Mm.
I can just be like, yeah, I can put a workshop on next month if I want. Yeah, sure. And like, if people ask me, oh, can you do a workshop on whatever? Yeah, sure. So I do genuinely like to keep it pretty open, but have a little bit of a plan.
Yes.
I would love to do day retreats. So when my space is like back up and running, I can see it just kind of being in the garden, doing some yoga outside,
Beautiful.
having some time together, doing some journaling, doing something creative, maybe having a walk and lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's definitely a dream, and then potentially kind of extending those day retreats, and being somewhere, because that's something that I love going on. I
Yeah.
try and go on a retreat every year, and yeah, that's just like such a lovely thing, and the connections
Mm.
that you make with people, you really, because it's that concentrated time, I guess,
Yeah.
together, and you're in something together, you're all experiencing it
Yeah.
together. I love that, and I would really love to like hold the space for that.
So if anyone's listening who either wants to do you know, the day retreat or to do the monthly retreats, get in touch with Beth. Also, if you are interested in leading retreats or collaborating, then to get
Yeah,
in touch with you, because I think that's
definitely.
such an important part of the platform here at the Wilderness
Yes,
is building those connections
definitely.
and yeah, creating those collaborations. Well, it's been amazing talking to you, honestly. I've
Thank you. I've
absolutely
loved
loved it.
it.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like we've touched on a lot of things there: movement,
Absolutely. Yeah.
creative process, you know,
Yeah.
what Live Happy is all about, spreading that happiness. So yeah, if you If there's one thing that you want to encourage our listeners to take away from our conversation today, what would it be?
Ooh, one thing, that's always tricky, isn't it? I think it's make things easy for yourself. Don't kind of think, oh, to have a creative time today, I need an hour and I need loads of things. And we can just so easily put ourselves off stuff. Whereas the easier that you make it for yourself, like almost make it just like stupidly easy that you can't not do it, leave your stuff out. Like if it's something creative that you want to do, say you want to like get into watercolors again, leave that stuff out in a place that you'll see it all the time so that it's just like an accessible thing to you.
Yes.
Like, oh, I've finished work. Oh, I couldn't, like, I'm here at my desk. I'm already here. Here's my stuff. I don't really have an excuse, to not do it. Or thinking about gratitude, like carve a time for you, 5 minutes, even when you're brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
You're doing that anyway. Do that habit stacking thing of finding a habit that already exists and just creating a new one on top of that. While you're brushing your teeth, think of 3 things that you're grateful for. Like just make it easy for yourself, and then habits will just build, I think. And reconnecting with your creativity, if that's something that you want to do, just having those things just there ready and waiting for you, like that joy that's ready and waiting for you. I think it's, yeah, just make things as easy as possible, because you'll soon kind of find yourself like easing into things, and that 10 minutes that you've taken might turn into an hour, but that's from coming from a different space, that you're in the
Yeah.
creative flow and you're enjoying it, and then that's great. Oh, you've got an hour of creativity in the
Yeah.
bag and you've got all these things to show for it. But yeah, I think it's try not to overthink it and put those barriers in place. Just make it as easy as possible, to access whatever it is, whether it's creativity, joy, whatever that you want to reconnect with. Just, yeah, make it dead easy for yourself.